Ukrainians are producing drones. I don't think they're outproducing the Russians. I don't know where Mr. Doctorow gets his numbers, but if they are, it's because they're mass producing these small, FPV drones that are used to drop, grenades and ram into things. But these drones have to be produced in large numbers because the vast majority of them are shot down or otherwise jammed. Very, very few percentage of them actually make it to the targets. When they do, it's devastating. I mean, this is the reality of this war. It's a drone war. The Russians are far more effective in their application of drones against the Ukrainians.
Inspector Scott Ritter has long warned that the conflict in Ukraine would escalate into a war of attrition, favoring the side that adapts faster. As we approach 1,000 days of relentless conflict, his prediction holds true. A war stretched over 3 years with millions of lives lost, front lines running thousands of kilometers, and multiple active battlegrounds, this nightmare shows no signs of ending. The skies are ablaze, the Black Sea is boiling, and the world watches in madness. Now, let's dive into the latest tactical developments and battlefield strategies shaping this war. As Scott Ritter recently noted, Ukraine's drone campaign has intensified to new heights, aiming to overwhelm Russian air defenses with sheer volume. In each wave, hundreds of UAVs are launched, forcing Russian defense networks to scramble across vast areas. The most recent wave saw over 100 UAVs deployed, with Russian defenses successfully intercepting 142 in the northern sector. Despite these impressive numbers, at least 5 to 10 drones still slip through, striking vital infrastructure, targeting power stations, apartment complexes, and fuel depot. This type of attack happens regularly every 10 days, or sometimes even weekly. Major operations involve over 100 UAVs, while smaller follow-ups keep the pressure constant on Russian defensive systems. These assaults are designed to stretch Russia's air defense capabilities, forcing them to divide resources across multiple fronts. As Ritter points out, the Ukrainian strategy relies on creating vulnerabilities. If just a few drones reach their targets, the damage can be significant. Ukraine's UAV strikes also seek to wear down Russian anti-air missile stockpiles. Russia must anticipate each wave, using layered defenses to prevent drones from hitting critical targets. And yet, Russia's defenders face an uphill battle, not just against drone swarms, but also the financial toll of maintaining advanced air defenses. Scott Ritter was among the first to highlight Russia's transition to drone warfare, calling it a game-changing shift that would cripple Ukraine's military infrastructure. Since January 2024, Russian Geran UAVs have swarmed Ukrainian skies relentlessly. Ukraine claims to have shot down 6,000 Gerans, but 15,000 to 20,000 drones have been deployed this year alone. Russia's UAV deployment outmatches expectations, providing high strategic value at minimal cost. The cost effectiveness of this tactic has become one of Russia's strongest advantages. Each day in October, 100 Gerans were launched into Ukrainian airspace. These drones are grouped into smaller strike teams, attacking different sectors of the battlefield simultaneously, leaving Ukraine's defenses overstretched and vulnerable. In the current battlefield reality, missiles are reserved for high-priority strikes, while drones have become the workhorses of the war, capable of penetrating even sophisticated air defense systems. Ukraine's anti-drone systems struggle to keep up. The relentless pressure has exposed cracks in their defense grid, allowing Russia to maintain a steady flow of attacks with minimal losses. For each drone intercepted, another 2 take its place, hitting valuable targets across key industrial and military zones. Russia's UAV strategy has evolved rapidly over the past year. What started as simple kamikaze drones has now transformed into a multi-role reconnaissance and attack platform. The Geran UAVs are now equipped with high-resolution optical cameras capable of real-time data transmission. This allows them to serve not only as attack drones, but also as scouts, guiding missiles like Iskander or Kinzhal directly to high-value targets. These drones are no longer just expendable tools. Some act as reusable reconnaissance units, conducting detailed battlefield surveys and relaying information back to command centers. With advanced electronics and multi-purpose payloads, they can function as both attackers and scouts, enhancing Russia's ability to strike with precision. Russia's capacity to adapt and evolve its UAV strategy has placed Ukraine in an increasingly precarious position. Each new iteration of the Geran introduces improvements that make interception more difficult and attacks more accurate. Ukraine's defenses are caught in a losing race while Russia continues refining its UAV operations. Ukrainian air defenses remain under constant strain. Russia's tactical evolution from missile barrages to drone warfare represents a significant shift in battlefield strategy. Missiles like the Kinzhal and Iskander are now reserved for surgical strikes on high-value targets, while UAV swarms are unleashed daily to maintain constant pressure on Ukrainian defenses. This shift forces Ukraine into an impossible position, spending millions on expensive air defense missiles just to stop drones that cost a fraction of the price. Russia's drone-based warfare is dismantling Ukraine's infrastructure and logistics at a staggering pace. These UAVs strike industrial centers, power grids, and supply chains, crippling Ukraine's ability to maintain its war effort. With each passing day, Russia tightens the noose, using drones to exhaust Ukrainian resources and overwhelm their defenses. The Western air defense systems supplied to Ukraine are proving inadequate against this relentless assault. What was once seen as a technological edge has become a financial burden, with Ukraine's anti-drone efforts draining both funds and morale. Many military specialists have long argued that tactical success will depend on exploiting Ukraine's weaknesses, and that's exactly what Russia is doing. Yesterday, Iskander missiles struck Odessa, causing devastating explosions that destroyed the Fifth Arm's transport ship at the port. Meanwhile, WAVs hit Poltava, Kramatorsk, and Kherson, destroying over 20 vehicles and surrounding equipment. Scott Ritter has long emphasized that tactical victories will increasingly result from exploiting weaknesses in Ukraine's defenses, and yesterday's events offer clear proof. Russian Iskander missiles struck Odessa, unleashing devastating explosions at the port. This precise attack marked the destruction of the 5th Ukrainian arms transport ship, dealing a severe blow to Ukraine's military logistics. At the same time, EU waves carried out synchronized strikes across multiple locations, including Poltava, Kramatorsk, and Kherson. In Kherson alone, over 20 vehicles, along with nearby equipment, were destroyed in a coordinated drone assault. These attacks cripple vital Ukrainian supply lines, further straining already overstretched forces. In Kiev, another large explosion rocked the capital, though the exact target remains undisclosed. Regardless, the psychological effect of these strikes reverberates through Ukraine's leadership, undermining both morale and operational planning. Russia's ability to strike deep into Ukrainian territory with minimal losses demonstrates the efficiency of their integrated UAV and missile strategy. These tactical successes highlight the growing gap between Russia's evolving capabilities and Ukraine's crumbling defenses. As Ritter predicted, the cumulative effect of coordinated missile and UAV attacks is steadily degrading Ukraine's capacity to wage war effectively. As Scott Ritter has pointed out, Russia's ground advances go hand in hand with its UAV operations, applying pressure on multiple fronts. In the past 24 hours, Russian forces gained 41 square kilometers of territory. A significant portion of this advance occurred in Kursk, where 14 kilometers were secured. Meanwhile, Russia's air defenses intercepted 142 Ukrainian UAVs, while several electronic warfare systems and TPQ-50 counter-battery radars were neutralized. The Kursk region has become a flashpoint in recent months, with over 25,000 Ukrainian soldiers lost in this area alone during the past 2 months. The battle-hardened Russian troops in Kursk have methodically dismantled Ukraine's defensive positions, clearing the way for further territorial gains. Russia's strikes also targeted 2 key ammunition depots and eliminated 5 HIMARS missiles during a precision operation in Dnipro. These logistical disruptions add to Ukraine's growing challenges, limiting the flow of weapons and supplies to frontline units. The steady advance of Russian ground forces, supported by coordinated UAV strikes, highlights Russia's tactical superiority on the battlefield. Each kilometer gained tightens the noose, forcing Ukraine's forces into increasingly desperate positions. Scott Ritter has warned that Ukraine's forces are becoming overwhelmed by Russia's multi-pronged tactics, and recent events confirm his assessment. In a single day, Russia inflicted 2,115 casualties on Ukrainian troops, destroyed 14 armored vehicles, 13 artillery pieces, and 24 additional military assets. Even during weekends, typically considered quieter, the scale of losses remains staggering. This weekend's losses are emblematic of a broader trend. Russia's relentless drone operations, missile strikes, and ground offensives are reshaping the battlefield. The war is no longer about individual battles, it's about the steady erosion of Ukraine's capacity to fight. Each EUAV strike and missile launch chips away at critical infrastructure and frontline morale. Russia's daily drone assaults are transforming what was already a nightmare for Ukraine into a living hell. As Ritter observed, this war is being rewritten by drones, and the consequences are increasingly clear. Ukraine's forces are trapped in a cycle of losses, struggling to adapt to Russia's unpredictable and overwhelming tactics. The once feared Western air defense systems are proving ineffective, with Russia gaining the upper hand in both technology and strategy. With winter approaching, Ukraine faces not just the cold, but a battlefield dominated by Russia's evolving drone warfare. As Scott Ritter accurately predicted, the coming months will see further escalation and tactical evolution on the battlefield. Russia's use of UAV swarms and precision missile strikes is already reshaping the course of the war, forcing Ukraine into an increasingly untenable position. Winter will only exacerbate these challenges. With Russia's tactics evolving faster than Ukraine can adapt, the situation grows more precarious by the day. Stay tuned for more updates, because this conflict is far from over.